Radio Raheem here with Michael Buffer. As always, the best dressed in the building and on this or the other side of the pond. Donning the bow tie and the handkerchief, though, with the three-piece, man. That's a special arrangement. Is it particularly for the regal occasion of this fight?
No, the bow tie was in the bag. I didn't like the tie selection that I had to wear with this, and just did it. Now I was running late, so I said, let's go, and let's do it.
I mention this all the time. Some of you in the comments give me beef about constantly talking about this men's wardrobe, but it's because this is how boxing should look. When you show up at a fight, I don't want you in your sweats and your shorts and your sandals and your Mitch Mac tracksuits. This is what boxing should look like. We should all aspire to be buttoned up and put together like this. I try my best. You are the gold standard in boxing. I'm telling you, you carry the tradition forward.
Raheem, I've seen you dressed up and, wearing your Tom Ford suits and all that, so you know what you're doing. Come on now.
I just try my best. This guy is consistently unfettered. Okay, that said, we got Dylan White and Lucas Brown at the O2, which is a big deal. Dylan White was here before with Anthony Joshua, which was like his kind of first bite at stardom in a big way, and he didn't succeed in getting that heavyweight championship. But this time, it seems like he's on the cusp again to maybe reach that next level. You haven't followed and been around for this entire arc of his career. How do you feel about Dylan White in general and his shot at being one of the heavyweight champions?
A big guy, and I read something the other day where somebody said, well, he's famous because he lost to AJ. In that fight, he buckled AJ's knees with a great left hook that was like, one of those things nobody wants to get hit with. He's got power in both hands, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm trying to think. I think he had taken a couple years off and had just sort of gotten back into the mix when he took that fight with AJ. So, he's been more active over the last couple years. He's going to come in here with something to prove. He's the headliner tonight, but man, he has got a tough opponent. Lucas Brown, I did the Shagayev-Brown fight in Russia, and Shagayev is just winning the fight clearly, and all of a sudden he's doing a backward somersault from just a short, shot. And he can hit with either hand, and he can come at any time, and he can really take a shot. So I think this is really a great heavyweight fight. What's great about it, too, is that the American fans get to see it on HBO, who's sending their whole broadcast team here. And for the fans in the O2, I mean, this is a great card, top to bottom. Good, nice, your early fights, and then, a great 3-4 fights before the main event. It's the type of thing fight fans want to see.
Another thing that fight fans want to see, or at least I want to see when I show up for fight week, is that the guys are fit, that they seem to be in shape and ready to put their best foot forward.
Mentally and physically, too.
Mentally and physically, certainly. But what I've noticed as heavyweights go recently is that the being in shape has become more common. Like they're smaller guys, they're more trim. Even Dylan White, who's coming heavy on occasion, seems sitting trim. Lucas is looking more fit. We saw Deontay Wilder a couple weeks back coming in like
215.
Something like this, much lighter than usual
AJ
and
wants
fit.
To come in a few pounds lighter next week.
Exactly. So what I'm getting at is someone who's seen so many heavyweight fights and been right next to them before the moment of truth. What do you ascribe that to? Is it just better science in the sport? Is it why do you think that these guys are more fit now? And is it a better thing for boxing that we have smaller heavyweights, or do we like the big, lumbering?
Yeah, but there's still big guys. And we don't like the lumbering guys with the chest things flapping around. You want to see guys that are fit. Over the last 20 plus years, we had Evander Holyfield. Just like this unbelievably superhuman looking person who from the waist up was probably a 240-pound linebacker, and then from the hips down had these little skinny Floyd Patterson legs, and that's why people always thought he was a small heavyweight. He from the waist up, he was a massive fighter. Tyson was not a tall guy, and his best fighting weight was 215 to 218. So with the Klitschko's and with AJ, we see like amazingly fit fighters at 245, 248. Wilder, that was the lightest he's ever been. He probably should have been a little heavier, in my opinion. I mean, we're 6'7", 6'7". 215 is that's too thin. Ali was 215 when he fought Sonny Liston. So, that's a big difference there. But yeah, I like to see guys that are in shape, and this Lucas Brown is so massive, like across his shoulders and chest, and you talk to him and you go, well, hey, and you're like, oh, holy mackerel, the guy's massive with these huge hands. Dillian is looking super fit, and I think you're right. They're more focused. They're using scientific methods, if that's the right term, but they're more conscious of what they eat and healthy foods and walking around between fights in shape. That's the key.
And when we get to the guys who are naturally smaller, that are on the scene like Lomachenko, who seems to be doing things, at least that are marveling people currently. Some people say, oh, I've never seen this before, I've never seen that before. I'm not sure that that's true. We've never seen it before. Yeah. But do you think maybe like this, like the Eastern Europeans and whatnot, and the boxing seeming to become a smaller sport, in that the world's getting to be a smaller place, is bringing new facets into the sport that maybe we haven't seen before?
Yeah. The one thing you said there is the world is getting to be a smaller place. 20 years ago, we didn't have this communications system like we have today, with both social media and telecommunications, where guys get to see things around the world. They're like, wow, boxing, I can maybe do that. I'm an athlete. And they can come from Kazakhstan and the Ukraine and Eastern Europe and the UK. The UK right now, I think, has more world champions than any other country in the world.
They never let you forget it either. They bring it up every time.
Can you blame them? I mean, come on.
I'd do it. I'd bring it up. Stylistically, big, heavy, big punchers like Wilder or Lucas Brown claims to be, guys who, like, depending on the one punch, or a Lomachenko, who's a bunch of punches, and you don't know how he gets guys to quit. And then there's guys that are like, Mayweather, who have all this technique and skill. Just as a favor, do you have a favorite kind of style that you like to watch?
Yeah, it's great when you see it. Somebody who has that this skill of a Mayweather and Lomachenko, as far as like footwork and defensive ability, and Willie Pep is a Hall of Fame legend, and he couldn't break an egg. And he once bragged, and they said, I could win a round without throwing a punch, because he was just so good. And he did it, like around 1950 or something, some kind of famous story. Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker. I mean, come on. You couldn't lay a hand on him in his prime. He was pound for pound, the best fighter in the world at one point in his career. Just amazing. But guys like Ray Leonard had power and that ability. Mayweather, moderate power with that ability. I mean, didn't really knock a lot of guys out in the later stages of career, but he was in his late 30s. So Lomachenko brings good power for a person that weighs 125 to 130 pounds, 135 for his next fight, and has that unbelievable footwork and head movement and body language. That's a treat to watch. But it really is a lot better when somebody has knockout power at any point.
Yeah. I bring these things to your attention because these people that watch us need to know that you are not only the gold standard in professionalism and decor, but also it's a scientist. This is what I like. This is what boxing is about. Scientists breaking it down, which you've done here again for us, Michael Buffer. It's Radio Raheem with the gold standard, Michael Buffer. Thanks, man.
Always good.